All right. We have a 3-round rookie mock draft with landing spots. Hello again. Thank you for clicking on the video. And some of these landing spots, these are going to come from Chad Reuter from NFL.com. I think that's how you say his name. This mock draft was published March 21st, 2025. And to be honest with you, it was one of the few mock drafts that was publicly available that went 4 rounds. And some of these landing spots I absolutely love. Some of the picks, and they're listed below there from rounds 1 to 3, are completely out there, crazy. One of them in particular we'll talk about in round 2 that blows my mind a little bit. But hey, the NFL draft offers us chaos every year, and we're left to deal with it. And I think these exercises are good. So if you like these kinds of things, if you like this content, we're going to be doing one every Monday until the NFL draft. That's my promise to you. So without further ado, let's get into it. At the 101, I don't think anything's changed. Ashton Jeanty goes to the Raiders, and he's going to be my pick here at the 101 in a Superflex tight end premium PPR league, which is what we're doing. So I don't know if I need to talk much about Ashton Jeanty. He's awesome. I think that's a really good fit with the Raiders. Now at the 102, Omarion Hampton goes to the Steelers, and I think that makes him a solidified bell cow running back for Mike Tomlin and the crew. Again, I don't think we think too hard about it. Omarion Hampton's my RB2 on the board. He's my RB2 here, goes to a great landing spot in round 1 in an RB-rich class. So pick number 3. I know some people are going to be screaming at me, you got to take the quarterback, you got to take the quarterback. He went number 1 overall. Come on. There might be some other people going, I don't know, Ted McMillan to the Seahawks looks good. But that's not the direction I'm going to go either. I'm looking at Trevion Henderson, who's a running back prospect that I absolutely, every time I watch him, I fall in love all over again. It's like a bad romantic comedy. This is probably a horrible analogy. I might have to cut this out. Some of you are gonna think I don't even know. But I love Trevion Henderson. That's the point. P.S. I love you, Trevion Henderson. That's what I'm talking about here. And that's the pick. If he goes to the Cowboys, I mean, giddy up, baby. I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? If he goes to the Cowboys. Seriously. So he's my pick at the 103. Now we go to the 104, and now you can talk me into the quarterback. So I'm going to be boring and go Cam Ward here. Now, Cam Ward is the only quarterback that I would really consider taking in the mid to upper first round. I do not like Shedeur Sanders whatsoever. Cam Ward has a lot to work on, but he is going to be the day 1 starter. He has solidified, insulated is the word I'm looking for, value because he's the number 1 overall pick. He's probably, if he fails with the Titans, he's probably going to get another chance. History would tell us that. So let's move on down to the 105. There weren't a lot of running backs that went in round 2 in this draft. So it makes our decision-making process a little bit interesting. And then one of the running backs, and I'll just talk about it right now, Jaden Blue, that went in round 2. I mean, are you out of your flipping mind? Chad Reuter, are you out of your mind? Jaden Blue in round 2 to the Eagles of all teams, who have Saquon Barkley, and they just took Will Shipley last year. I know he might not be the player that we thought he might have been, if he ever was. I don't know. But seriously, Jaden Blue in round 2? What? Okay. With that being said, at the 105, man, I think positional scarcity here makes me want to take Emeka Egbuka because and I'm just going to take Emeka Egbuka. Emeka Egbuka going to the Cowboys in round 1. Emeka Egbuka, Travion Henderson. I mean, the Cowboys are loading up that offense. Their defense is probably going to be subpar at best. They're going to be in shootouts. Dak Prescott's still a capable quarterback, and Egbuka fits really well alongside CeeDee Lamb. I love that. And then right after him, bang, bang, we're going to go Tet McMillan. And I get it. Tet McMillan got picked ahead of Emeka Egbuka. I understand, okay? Some of you are probably screaming at me. He got picked 2 slots ahead. He's going to the Seahawks. It's a situation where I don't necessarily think the talent. I mean, the situation here for Emeka Egbuka, and maybe I've lost my mind. I don't know. But the reason Egbuka goes ahead of Tet McMillan, and I know some of you are screaming at me right now, is because I like the landing spot better. That's really what it comes down to. The draft capital's basically the same. JSN's the locked-in number 1, and Tet McMillan would pair extremely well with JSN. I'm not saying that he wouldn't. But Emeka Egbuka, to me, the more I watch the film, there isn't a huge gap between him and some of the other wide receivers in this class. Egbuka, Burden. I mean, Egbuka is about as solid as it gets. Now, Tet could be amazing. I don't know. But Tet also kind of scares me. I think Egbuka's a much safer pick with a much higher floor. And Tet going to the Seahawks with Sam Darnold as opposed to having Dak Prescott at quarterback. I mean, there's quarterback uncertainty for both of these players, but it's just an inch. It's just an inch above. That's it. That's all I'm trying to say here. So before you leave nasty comments in the comment section because I have Egbuka picked over Tet McMillan in this particular scenario, even though Tet McMillan technically does get drafted ahead of Egbuka, before you do that, just know why I did it, okay? And if you still hate it, fine. It is what it is. So here we go at the 107. I think Quinshon Judkins, even though he's probably not going to, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot for maybe suggesting that Najee Harris would stand in his way, and this pick is redundant, by the way. If the Steelers take, or if the Chargers rather, oh man, I'm getting the Steelers and Chargers mixed up. If the Chargers take Quinshon Judkins is just a bigger, badder version of Najee Harris, in my opinion. And they're very, very similar stylistically, so I don't really know why this pick makes sense. I mean, thanks a lot, Chad Reuter, for kind of messing with my mind a little bit. You could maybe argue that I could have taken Judkins a little bit higher, but this is where I'm taking him. I don't understand this for the Chargers, but eventually, this is a pick that might not pay off right away because Najee Harris is there. But eventually, this is going to be Quinshon Judkins' backfield, and eventually, this is going to be a situation that we just absolutely love for fantasy. So that is the rationale for the pick. And now I think we have to go with Tyler Warren. And I know, you're probably thinking, what Shedeur Sanders? But Jackson Dart, man, to the Jets. I'm just going to say this right now, and I'm probably just going to fill in the next pick with Shedeur Sanders because I do think that's probably where he belongs. I don't love the landing spot for either one of those guys, and I'll get back to Tyler Warren here in a minute. Tyler Warren, well, I'll get back to him right now. Tyler Warren going to the Broncos at pick 12 is absolutely perfect, and if that happens, look out. I think that's one of the better landing spots if it happens that's out there. And I love what he did in his last year. Now, again, I don't think he's as good as Brock Bowers. I think the tight end class overall is overrated. And that's just because I think we're pumping him up because of what we saw from Brock Bowers last year. And everybody's kind of searching for, oh, who's the Brock Bowers in this class? And there isn't one. News alert. Like, there's not an elite tight end in this class. The problem is, Tyler Warren's going to get drafted like that. I mean, he's technically going to pick higher than Brock Bowers went last year in this draft. So if that happens, again, the situation's great with Bo Nix. We love that. And then Shedeur Sanders. I hate this landing spot. I hate it so much. And I hate it because we have a quarterback that's getting drafted by a lame duck head coach and a lame duck general manager, most likely. Now, could they, I don't know, with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston and Shedeur Sanders, what a freaking quarterback room that would be. Holy shit. I mean, come on. I don't think they make this pick. And to be honest, I don't know the timing of this. Maybe this was a bad mock draft to choose because I don't know exactly when Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston signed. It was probably after this mock draft was posted. I don't know. But if this were to happen and this is the plan for the Giants, wow. I guess Shedeur Sanders gets a year to sit and learn, which is good, but I don't love it because then the coach that drafted him and the GM that drafted him are probably fired the next year because guess what? You play in a division with the Eagles, with the Commanders, and the Cowboys are probably at least as good as you are. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a horrible situation for a rookie quarterback to be put into. So I'll just say that. Now, to Jackson Dart, similarly, I think it's a better scenario, but I don't love it, which is why I have some players over him, but I do think Jackson Dart would be the pick here in a super flex league, and it's risky, but we have top 10 draft capital. He's going to a situation where there isn't a lot in the way. I know Justin Fields is there, and if this were to happen on draft night, to be just perfectly honest with you and talking as one of the bigger Jackson Dart fans in the world, this would shock me. I do think he's going to go first round. In fact, I'm going to have an NFL mock draft coming out if anybody cares to watch it. Everybody seems to be doing these mock drafts. You know, everybody and their uncle and their crazy aunt, everybody has a mock draft, so I might as well hop into that pool and see if anybody wants to see it. So I'll be doing one, and I do think Jackson Dart has a good chance to go in round 1, but in the top 10, would the Jets do this? I don't know. I would be pretty floored if this happens. So now we're getting to a point where, you know, Ted McMillan, Egbuka, Hampton, the quarterbacks, at least the ones that went in the top 10 are all off the board. Genty's off the board. I do think we go Luther Burden and we take some value. Now, Burden going to Tennessee, I'll admit it's not spectacular, but he does get paired up with Cam Ward. Not terrific, but not as bad as Will Levis. At least I don't think so. And I think this is just a really good opportunity for a team that just missed out on the championship to really soak up some value here, just because, you know, the positional scarcity, quarterbacks are gone. And so you're kind of getting what's best, the best version of what's left over, if that word vomit made sense. The point is you're getting the best of what's left over here. And I think Burden at the 111 is just tremendous, tremendous value. And let's just end the round 1 the right way. And Golden, it's a golden pick here. Matthew Golden going to the Packers. Again, that's a tricky landing spot. Because the Packers, I mean, they have Jaden Reed, they have all Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs, and now Matthew Golden to go with Tucker Kraft and Josh Jacobs. It's kind of a convoluted receiving core, so I don't love this, but I don't hate it either. So that's kind of how I feel. Let's go to round 2, and this is pretty consistently where I've been taking Travis Hunter, and I think this is where he belongs, and this would be the ultimate steal at the back end of the first round, top of the second round, if you're able to get Travis Hunter here, because if he goes to the Patriots, I'm just saying this, I think he's going to play more wide receiver than we might think, but I don't think the Patriots are going to take him. I think the Patriots are going to take an offensive lineman. As I've said 100 times, and you might be sick of me saying it, if Travis Hunter were a wide receiver, if he said tomorrow, I'm going to play wide receiver 100% of the time, he would be my wide receiver 1, and he would be in contention for the 101. So, let me know what you think about that in the comments. So, moving on to the 202. We had some shocking picks in this draft, and I'm not going to fall for the bait. I'm just going to stay predictable and go Colston Loveland in a tight end premium. Love the landing spot. Quarterback situation's kind of up in the air, but I think there's enough to like with the Colts. And again, I'm not in love with the prospect. I like the no pun intended there. I'm not in love with the prospect. Ha 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 ha. I like Loveland. I don't love him as a prospect. And that's kind of how I feel about this tight end class in general. It's like I don't hate it. I mean, there are a lot of good names. Mason Taylor, we're going to talk about him here in a minute. To the Bears, I think Mason Taylor's a guy that might go a lot higher. And I think this is a good call by Mr. Reuter here in this mock draft. But again, I think this landing spot and player are good and worthy of the 2-2. Caleb Johnson goes to the Browns in round 3 here, and you could even say that he probably should have been taken ahead of Loveland, but we're just going to go with him in at the 2-3. I mean, yes, he falls a little bit to round 3. I understand, but there's a ton of upside with Caleb Johnson, even with the Browns. And my guess is Kevin Stefanski is going to be able to make that work there. So Caleb Johnson to the Browns. Then we go Jalen Noel. Yes, ahead of the round 1 Isaiah Bond. I'm not going to fall for that. And then I believe, I'm going to make sure I'm not messing up here again, because that's very possible. Yeah, then we're going to go Jaden Higgins, as Jaden Higgins goes to the Panthers. And I know the Panthers haven't been great at scouting wide receivers thus far, but I do think Jaden Higgins would be a really good pick for them to pair him with what they have there already. Adam Thielen, we know, is not getting any younger. And outside of Adam Thielen, I mean, you look at the Panthers wide receiver core, like this is probably why Jalen Coker is a nice stash if you have him. I mean, Xavier Legette, Adam Thielen, David Moore, Jalen Coker, and then I'm not kidding, these are the names: TJ Luther, Dax Milne, Dan Chisena, and Bryce Tremaine on ESPN is what is listed as their wide receiver depth chart. So I don't know who those guys are, but I don't think they're going to play much for the Panthers this season. So now I do think we're going to go to the 3rd round again. And maybe I'm overdrafting this guy. Maybe I should just take some of these other players, but I'm going to go Dylan Sampson, because Dylan Sampson I've ranked really high at the running back position. I believe he's my RB6. I don't have my running back rankings pulled up right now. I probably should, considering I'm doing a mock draft, right? Maybe I'll do that. But Dylan Sampson going to the 49ers at the end of the 3rd round feels like a match made in heaven. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, who knows if he's going to be able to stay healthy for the full season. And Dylan Sampson just feels like a nice fit for what they like to do. So we'll move on to the 207. And I'm not going to lie, this is weird, because I feel like I'm missing something. And Chad Reuter, this is the point where the landing spots and the players kind of fall off a little bit. Man, it's really a toss-up between Isaiah Bond and Trey Harris. And to be honest, I think I'm going to go Trey Harris, because I do like the landing spot. And I'm just not a really big fan of Isaiah Bond, to be perfectly frank. I don't think he's as good as Xavier Worthy. I don't. And Trey Harris on tape, I mean, he's a bigger wide receiver. I think he's a really good fit there. And basically, I mean, Trey Harris to the Patriots, they get Stephon Diggs, they draft Trey Harris. I mean, they have Demario Douglas there. They could really turn around that offense with Drake May in just one offseason. I think Stephon Diggs is a really good fit for them. At the 2-8, man, do I just cave and take? I think I do just cave and take Isaiah Bond here. I mean, it's a good situation. The draft capital, obviously, the last pick of round 1. And again, I don't know what it is. I get the feeling that I'm missing somebody, but I've taken everybody from round 1, and we're at the 2-9. Again, Isaiah Bond, I could take him or leave him. I'm not. I do think there's some upside with the Rams, and Devontae Adams is not going to be playing forever. So I think eventually this could pay off. There's a pick in this draft that I don't understand, and I honestly don't know what to do. I honestly have no idea what to do with Jaden Blue. I think I'm going to take him here, but I don't love it. And feel free to just completely trash this pick in the chat. Round 2 to Philadelphia seems rich. I am going to take Mason Taylor here because I think that's a nice fit with the Bears. He might not play right away, but with Caleb Williams, I think another weapon for Caleb Williams. I love what the Bears are doing, and if they took him here in the second round, I would have absolutely no problem with it whatsoever. Let's go ahead and at the 211, man, this is where it really gets weird. Man, it gets really interesting, but I think I have to take the situation with Xavier Restrepo. I get it. He ran the slowest, and this might have been published before the 40 time with the Bills, but if he gets drafted by the Bills, I think this is about where he should go. I mean, you could argue even maybe a little bit higher than he's going right here. And now, as you see, there's still some options available in round 2. Quinn Ewers is still is the last player in round 2 that hasn't been drafted. So most of everybody's now in round 3. And I'll just say this: I think Jalen Milroe going to the Raiders is worth taking here. Now, do I love him as a quarterback prospect? No, he's my quarterback 4, basically for, by process of elimination, he's my quarterback 4. But in Superflex, the rushing upside, I can't deny it. Heading to the Raiders in round 3 feels like a good landing spot. And I really am floored by some of these round 3. This is really where his mock draft, Chad Reuter's mock draft, really kind of threw me for a loop because hardly any running backs going in round 3. And the ones that were selected, Trevor Etienne and Dylan Sampson. So just 2 running backs. So clearly he does not feel like this running back class is as good as everybody thinks it does. And the players that he's choosing are just completely bizarre and out there. But you're going to see me, and he did go 4 rounds. So I'm going to have, his 4th round pulled up just for, because I'm going to be taking some of these round 4 running backs here. Man, it's so bizarre because there's no Devin Neal. I don't see Brashard Smith. I guess I'll throw up Jack Besh. I like Jack Besh a lot. Probably higher than consensus on him. Going to the Jets, paired up with whoever, Justin Fields and Jackson Dart. Feel like that's a pretty decent situation, especially, he has the opportunity to earn just a bunch of targets right away. So the round 4, I'll just say round 4 running backs, landing spots. I'll just say it real quick. RJ Harvey to the Saints at pick 112. That long term, that might be a good thing. Cam Scatabo to the Broncos. That actually might be the pick here. Bashul Tutin to the Chiefs. Actually, yeah, those 2 landing spots, I think, let me just double check here, are better than anything that's available. So yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go Cam Scatabo, or however, Scatabo, and then we're gonna go Tutin. Cam Scatabo is my RB10, Tutin's my RB9. So getting them here feels pretty good. I don't know. This part of the draft here, I guess I'll throw up Trevor Etienne. Again, I am not the biggest fan, but I cannot deny round 3 to the Patriots. He would have a chance to get some playing time right off the jump. We have some tight ends that I think found pretty good landing spots, and I think I'm going to go Elijah Arroyo. Here, there are some injury concerns, but I think there's a lot of upside, and if he lands with the Dolphins, I think that's pretty good. And I think now's the time to take Quinn Ewers. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the prospect, but you can't deny this is super flex, and there's a chance with the Seahawks. Who knows? Sam Darnold, we've seen him play pretty bad before, so Quinn Ewers could come in there and maybe play next year, the year after. I don't know, but there is a chance. There's a pathway for Quinn Ewers, especially if they take him this high. We're going to go RJ Harvey here at the 3-7. He goes to the Saints in this situation. Then we're going to throw up Devin Neal, who I think, him not going in the first 4 rounds, I think is preposterous. I I think he's a really good player. Again, he might not be the fastest guy in the world, but he's my RB7 right now. So I like him quite a bit. And I certainly like him a lot better than some of these other players that were drafted here. You know, like Savion Williams. I mean, a lot of upside, but kind of a gadget guy. Tez Johnson, really undersized. And then, you know, the tight ends. Jalen Royals I actually like, but that's a crowded situation in Detroit. I feel like he could get lost there. I will throw up a tight end that right now that I think is really underrated. And I'm gonna go Gadsden. If Gadsden goes to the Rams, I like that quite a bit. I think he's a really underrated player. I talked about him in my Rookies You Must Draft video. Go check that out. Rookies You Must Draft at every position. Gadsden to me is one of the more underrated tight ends that nobody's talking about. So I like him quite a bit. I don't know if I should take Tyler Shook right now or not. I mean, honestly, I'll just say this, and this might make some people mad. I would probably take Dylan Gabriel over Tyler Shook if Dylan Gabriel goes in round 4 or 5 and Tyler Shook goes to the Steelers here in round 3. Even though in this situation you would think he has a pathway to start, so that might be stupid. I do not like Tyler Shook as a prospect. I feel like he's who's the tall guy with the long neck? Mike Glennon. He gives me Mike Glennon vibes. So no, thank you. We have 3 more picks left to make here. Thank you again for watching. If you like this content, click the like button. Subscribe to the channel. We're gonna finish out strong. I will be taking. I think Ferguson, if he goes to the Seahawks, I think that's a pretty good landing spot for a tight end, and in a tight end premium league. I like that here, especially over some of the wide receivers, and yes, over Tyler Shook going to the Steelers. And then I think maybe we round it out with some of the running backs that I like. I think Ollie Gordon's a really good pick here. Again, I think there's a lot of upside there, and I think he's going to go day 2. Again, I could be wrong. But with the last pick here, I'm just going to do it. Alec Ayumanor is one of my favorite players in this entire draft. I could have went with a running back. I could have went with Dylan Gabriel or Tyler Shook, and I do like Dylan Gabriel over Tyler Shook, and I like Gabriel quite a bit. But this is the direction we're going to go here. Alec Ayumanor is one of my flag plant players. And maybe I should have taken Jalen Royals because I do like Jalen Royals, but I don't love that landing spot. And we do not draft Tyler Shook, Savion Williams, Tez Johnson, and Jalen Royals, even though they all went in round 3. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Like and subscribe to the channel. Once again, thank you so much for doing that if you already did. And until next time, be good, everybody, and we will see you later.